In my culture, death marks the end of the physical body, but the soul lives on. So death is seen as a transition from one state of existence to the next.
Death is the passing to God and eternal life.
Death means to us a transition. It's not the final end. It is seen as a journey to be with the spirits, and especially when a person dies in her old age or his old age, and dies honorably, and dies with natural causes. Mm-hmm. So it is considered a transition and not the final destination.
In my culture, death is the end of life on earth and the start of the afterlife.
I would say peace. They've lived their life, they've done everything they could, and now it's time for rest and peace. For their family and relatives or people that they love, I would be thinking that might be a time where the sorrow starts in terms of their grief.
In my culture, death is an inevitable part of living.
Be as comfortable as possible, have immediate family close by in the house, and being there to support them on that journey, that final journey.
So in my culture, it is essential for the dying person to detach themselves from the physical world and reach a state of completion. It's fairly common for a dying person's body to be laid as close to the floor as possible, so as to create a deeper connection with the earth.
I would say be heard. There's no one way to do anything particularly, and dying is the same. It's up to them as to what they want, what their goals are, what's important to them, and it's about individualising their care and supporting them through whatever it is that they need to do.
It's essential for the dying person, ideally, to have received the last rites.
In my culture, it's essential for the dying person to have their wishes and feelings known and respected.
Yes, it is very essential in my culture for a dying person to be given a proper transition to the life after, and to ensure that smooth transition to the spirit world, and to ensure that burial rites, rituals and customs are properly adhered. There is a community involvement as well, because we are very communal, and there's a lot of community involvement to ensure that happens.
In my culture, it is essential for the dying person to receive the last rites of prayers and blessings, so that they have a chance for forgiveness and acceptance of the Lord and a hope for afterlife.
We have so many taboos in my culture, and especially when such deaths happen in very mysterious and dishonorable circumstances. For example, death by suicide is very frowned upon, almost to the point where a family could become ostracized. Another taboo could be when someone dies away from home. By away I mean outside of a community, in very, again, personal circumstances.
One taboo about death is to die in a state of sin.
In my culture, one taboo about death is we don't talk about dying until someone is dying.
In my culture, one taboo around death is to not overly mourn the loss of a significant other, so as not to hold the soul back from its onward journey. Instead, it's about thinking positive thoughts and feeding the soul with positive thoughts as it transitions to the next state of existence. Another taboo is that living wills aren't really considered something people openly discuss, as it's often considered bad luck.
I cannot think about any taboo, but we have these practices after death, I mean on the death itself, that we put the bills on the hand of the person so that he has something to carry on while he or she is traveling to afterlife.
I would say pain. A lot of people that I speak to, relatives, people in society, often think that death is often very painful, and I would say it doesn't need to be. If there is some pain, not everyone experiences it, but if there is, we always have a way to manage this. No one needs to die in pain, there's always options.
In my culture, the most important way to die is surrounded by loved ones who can create a spiritual and peaceful environment to aid the transition of the soul for its onward journey. And this can be through chanting mantras and offering blessings or reciting sacred verses.
I would say there isn't one particular way to die that's more important than another. I would say listening to that person whose journey it is, finding out what they want as much as possible, that they could explore if they want to be more awake, if they want to be more sleepy, and just doing everything we can to fulfill what their wishes are, to be comfortable and content with their pathway.
In my culture, the most important way to die is at peace and hopefully having made a positive impact on the world.
Having family, close family by you, and if you're religious, having the minister coming down to see you at home, Holy Communion and prayers.
The most important way to die is about sadness and celebration. Sadness in a way that our loved ones departed forever, and celebration because he will join the Lord our Creator.
In my culture, the most important way to die is for that to happen in an old age, naturally. By that I mean natural causes, surrounded by family, with all the burial arrangements, rites and customs done to ensure a proper befitting burial, especially when such death or such a person is deemed to have contributed immensely to the community.
And the most important way to die is to die peacefully.